Hello and welcome back to the 1963 YouTube channel. I know this time I've been gone for a very long time, but trust me, I've been kept busy. I've had a few things going on here and there, but I've always been recording my art whenever I've made any. So before we talk about anything else, let me quickly brief you up about today's piece. This is actually a large magnolia that has been sketched out on a paper size full imperial. My cousin brought me this idea that she needed this painting done for the bedroom of a newly wedded couple. And we wanted flowers that were really lively, blooming, and really bright, happy colors. So we went for pink magnolias. If I were to give you a disclaimer, I'd tell you that I've never painted florals so big, but it has always been an aim because I've seen so many floral artists who paint out these beautiful pieces and they come out especially well when the painting is really big, and I thought the strokes might look really well, and I had this exclusive chance to experiment with this dream that I've had for so long. Sketching out the piece itself was a task. At first, I had to divide the full imperial into 9 grids. As we see on Instagram or any other photography, you see how those lines divide the entire picture into 9 grids. So that is what I did, and then used my reference image, and on the basis of that, I understood the proportions and was able to sketch out the piece onto this full imperial, and it somewhat was closer to the reference image. Of course, this painting takes place in several layers, and it actually did take me 5 days to complete in daylight because I was recording as well. So I'll be dividing this entire tutorial into 3 parts, and this is only the first part, meaning day 1, where I had painted out the base layer. So I had to bring out my biggest, fluffiest mop brush, and the color, as you can see, is a mixture of crimson. There's another color that comes in the name rose. Playing with the proportions of these 2 colors and adding a good amount of white to this mixture helped me find the base layer, which was meant to be really light. And as you can see, certain areas did not even have the pink element on them. They were shades of white and gray as well, which is why I had to go really light. And even when I used pink, occasionally I added a hint of brown somewhere, a hint of gray somewhere, and used as much water as possible in comparison to the pigment that was picked on the brush. Talking about the technicalities of painting this huge bunch of magnolias, I would say it's pretty much the same as that of the hydrangeas, and you may follow that tutorial that was uploaded right before this one. You'll see that with the help of the reference picture, what I did was I tried to understand where we do need pigments and where we do not need pigments at all. So the aim of the base layer was basically to touch those points where we will be adding pigments and demarcating them clearly with the help of a pencil. This one's so huge actually that I could just make one whole video out of just the base layer and when and where I'm touching them. Since I'm an artist with no background in the technicalities of painting or even sketching, there's a lot that I've learned by myself, watching a lot of videos on YouTube, observing carefully the painting techniques, and at the same time watching a lot of artists who make a lot of florals and of course address other genres as well. 2 years back, if you'd asked me to paint this magnolia, I would have clear-cut denied it because I wouldn't have even envisioned, sketching out something as big as this, leave out the painting part entirely. That was not even something I could imagine. Then came a phase where I really wanted to take up challenges but did not have the technical knowledge about how to play with colors. I would always imagine why my paintings looked so dry while some other paintings had so many variations, and how come these artists use so many colors and yet managed to make this entire set look like a pink based magnolia bunch. That is where I learned the concept of using hints of other colors that sort of accentuate the look of the entire painting in a way that still keeps the crimson and rose dominant, but at the same time gives out a very beautiful, vibrant effect to the entire painting. In terms of this painting, the maximum amount of color variation you'll see will be in terms of darkening or lightening the crimson with the use of other colors, like adding hints of brown somewhere or even adding gray somewhere and playing around with highlights and shadows. But if you go back to my hydrangeas videos, you will see how the bunch that is meant to be a blue one actually has hints of purple and crimson as well. Now, if I had to give you tips on how and where do you get started with a piece as large as this, my idea will be observation. First, you go to your reference image, which is a very safe thing to do, considering if you are a beginner like me, then you'll really have to use reference pictures, because eventually you will then learn to sketch out your own things. But at first, it's really important that you observe and fine-tune the skills of observation and keep some very keywords in mind. For example, highlights and shadows. First and foremost would be covering your base layer with mild pigment and mostly water. That way you cannot go wrong at all. You will not end up creating a very vibrant first layer. Observe your reference picture and find out what are the spots that have highlights, what are the spots that have shadows, and accordingly you'll know where to eventually add more pigments and which areas to completely leave out. Mind you, leaving out space and not painting on them is literally a skill that I've had to master over a very long time, and I'm still struggling with it. I don't know how to leave a space untouched or just touch with one layer and never go back again, because that is exactly the layering that you're looking for when you look at a complete piece. Of course, all of this is a complete game of patience and a lot of skills that are imbibed in course of time, and I wouldn't say I'm there yet, but I'm still struggling with it. I'm still trying to learn new things, and so long as patrons bring me commissions like this, I'm happy to experiment and see where things do take me. Here right now I'm also adding a very mild second layer that sort of helps create a depth in terms of layers. If you look closely, you'll find that I'm only adding the second layer to areas where the petals look a little folded or areas near the core of the flower. And yet please notice that this is not yet the darkest layer I've added. This layer still has a lot of pigment. I wanted to be especially careful with this piece because there's no going back if something turns out wrong. So I wanted to take a lot of time and put a lot of effort, be very careful and patient, and see how this turns out eventually. However, this piece has been completed, but I will still be uploading the entire video in parts for the sake of ease of understanding. But I really hope you did gather some insight with the help of this video, and I'm so grateful that you were here till this point at least, and I would hope you watch it till the end because there's so much you will learn. So thanks for coming back to my channel and being so patient watching this video. So if you're new to my channel, please do hit the subscribe button, and if you're already a follower, please do share it with your friends and family and people who take interest in art. I also do believe art videos are a huge and beautiful form of therapy, so do share it with people who suffer from anxiety, depression, or any other mental illnesses that require art therapy. Don't forget to hit the like button because your encouragement means so much to me, and leave your thoughts in the comments section because then I'll know what you think about these videos, because I'm very hopeful that I'll be able to bring you more and more videos, and eventually over some time you'll also be able to see the difference in my art itself because I'm learning too. So that was me sharing all of my knowledge, all the insights, all the experiences I gathered through this piece, and going inside out, sharing every bit of it with you. Please watch this video till the very end, and I will try and upload the second part of this video very, very soon.